Okay, so if I look tired, I am tired. I was conked out, sleeping so good at 1 o'clock in the morning, and she came in, and I was in the bedroom. I went in there. I'm just having the weirdest. Every day is so fucking weird. But I fell asleep on the couch like normal. And then all of a sudden, I think she woke me. Something happened and woke me up. And then I looked and it was 10. So I went in and got in bed. And then I thought, okay, well, I'll get a couple hours in there. I manifested that. And then at 1, she came in there and woke me up. And so then I came out and I just haven't been able to go back to sleep. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go heat up my... I had some left in my pan yesterday, so I didn't have to do my whole concoction. And so I just had to heat it back up. That's what I got to do, is figure out a way to make a bigger amount. And then I just got heat... Or like the paste thing. I don't know, they show me things all the time. Like, and they're the ones who came up with the paste thing. So I'm sure if I just tune in and tap in and, you know, show me how much of this, okay, this one, no, you know, and I'd come up with something. So I just got to do that. It's just like you got to tap into that energy and focus in that direction, and then you can do that. But I'm just like, it isn't even just like scattered. I definitely am scattered, but it is like I'm constantly interrupted. And I don't know. I feel like it's these lower grade energies that are around that keep interrupting and Stella to interrupt me, because I just keep going like deep in my mind in places or something. Which, you know, I don't know what it all means. I don't know. I know my body's still sitting here. I haven't left the game. But it's like my mind's not here, though. And it's in deeper places. It's not like I'm just, like, out swimming with mermaids or something. It's like in these deeper... I don't know how to explain it. Because this is something that I don't know if this is a part of, like, what I'm doing here. Let me try. You know, if you're ever trying to figure out, like, is she just high? Like, what is her deal? Is she just talking weird because she's high? Is she just say crazy shit? It's like, if you're trying to figure out if I'm high or not all the time, is, if the days that I sit there and say, like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain, you can figure I probably have smoked. And then all the other days, no, I don't smoke all the time. I usually don't smoke even before. I do this because I don't want to seem like I'm just like, you know, high rambling about stuff. No, it's, the stuff is real. It's real communication. It's real. The spiritual life is real. That's the part of life that's real. And, this is another thing I saw the other day, and I've seen it a couple times, and so I was gonna, and I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna talk about stuff out of my own life or something today. That's what keeps being. So, anyways, so, okay, let me finish that first, because the fog, they keep bringing this fog in on us all the time. Every day we get fogged for a little while. And then yesterday it turned so fucking cold. Oh my God. So I went and looked on the thing and said we were under a winter storm warning and it could snow and all this stuff. And I was like, what the fuck are these motherfuckers doing? God damn. And it already has snowed in Colorado. And I think some other places too. So, and by the way, now in March in Canada, if you are a drug addict, well, euthanasia is the only way out. They don't give a shit. You don't have to be sick. Drug addict is sick enough. That's it. It's enough to get you euthanasia. So crazy, you know, the shit that they used to say, you'll go to hell, you're damned to hell forever. Now it's just like, fucking line up, dude. You're a burden. Line up. It's like, oh, this place is something else. Oh, which, by the way, you know how I kept saying, I think all the names, I don't even know if we can even say all these names, you know, the Builds, the Bergs, the, you know, the people who are in charge, the ancient ones, the ancient ones, those people, and I kept saying, I bet you, all these people keep saying, oh, they're Luciferian, they're a bunch of devil worshippers. Like, I think that there's some more to it, because the devil's not real, y'all, and they know that. There's something more going on here. And, but they understand about energy, alchemy. They understand more than we understand. That's what they've got, the hidden truth. They are the ones that carry, you know, they think that they are over us because they hide stuff from us because they know the truth and we don't. So they manipulate us with the truth and shit. And so, yeah, all these people, they're devil worshippers and stuff. No. And there's something more about this consumption of the energy, because we're not flesh and blood. We are energy. And they, and then there's something about, like I have said, the melanin is, it's like a conductor or something. And they want it for them. They don't want it to other people. And I think that they want what the other people have. Because the people who carry that inside of them have a natural instinct. They have a connection to the source, the God self. You know, it's a carrier. It's a conductor to keep you. And I think that they want it. Not just to use, like, but they, because, like, the people who they try and make, like, their beings that they mess with, they are trying to remove it because they're trying to control them. Because, I mean, right there, well, you can see that. When they're trying to take this stuff out of these people because it's easier to control the people. Right there. Use your critical thinking. Just keep going in that fucking vein. You don't need me to tell you anything. All you got to do is think for yourself. And the stuff is like, I swear to God, they drink it out of goblets. But they want to, and I don't know if they do get a temporary rush. If that is, they depend on that adrenaline charge to give them that temporary rush of feeling. And they're addicted to feeling. But there's a connection. Like they're so petrified. They're so far removed from their own state of being. Like, it's weird. It's weird when you can see this stuff like on a soul thing. But anyways, so, you know, when the people are all like, oh, the devil worshippers and all this shit. And I'm always thinking, what in the primitive fucking conversation, woo-woo shit and we talking here? It's like, fuck, dude. It's, oh my God. I swear to God. Hold on a second. It's just, sometimes it just fucking blows my goddamn mind. Especially when it's not like that I ever saw myself as like some sort of special or like, and then we just are like, what? Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, because I wanted to finish that too with, before I was off on the other thing, because stuff I want to say about that is, yesterday in the fog situation, last night, and Stella was laying there, and she just came in, and she was laying, and her stomach was just going crazy. It was gurgling. I was like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, mine started. I was like, oh, okay. See, this is what I'm talking about with the, either I'm so empathetic, I just take on all her things, which could be, because I'm fucking, I always get pain right in there where she has pain. And so could be that. Like, I don't know every goddamn thing. I just can see what things are. And so I'll get pain in these things. But then when we get the same things and we go out walking in the fog, you know, and I keep trying to stay in. It's just so weird out there. Yesterday I went walking out to take out a bag of trash and went walking down, and I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. I feel like I'm walking through a page of a book and I'm just walking through it. Like, it's so fucking weird. But so, you know, when I kept saying about that, those people, I'm pretty sure that they're probably more in the bluish. I just was like, I bet you all these people are, and you know, before when everybody was talking about like Gator and the Gen X of the U, put those back, like, maybe that's Piglet. No, because I didn't do it like Piglet. But anyways, you know, you just got to watch out for these certain words that will, so, but, you know, you guys are higher intelligence. Y'all can figure it out. So, and people kept talking about that and about, like, in that philosophy, I don't know, religious philosophy, this group think, this group mind, the way these people think is, you know, there's a hierarchy, and then get rid of the debris, and then, you know, they just definitely have a certain way. And so people were all talking about that and how they want to reduce the population and make it manageable or whatever, and how they want to do it, and they actively do it. He comes right out and talks about it. It's like so weird. My God, this stuff is so weird. Hold on. I mean, when somebody comes out and talks about their philosophy, and then they go and they fucking invent it, and then they go and start doing it, and then it starts working, and then it's just like, God, tell me, no, like, this is so wacky. So, then, okay, I got so many things going right now. Okay, so let me bet on him. Okay, so, and I was saying that I feel certain these people, and then there's, you know, this other division thing happening between, I'm just gonna spell this one because I feel like this one is like, it's getting way too hot, way too hot. It starts with a Z, and then after that you have an ion. Weird. And then you have it's like a sect or something. And I think they're the ones who wrote the Bible. And I've seen more of these fucking, you know, what, anger fucking Jew talk towards the golem, whatever the fuck they call us. Gorum. I mean, it's pretty, the word just makes it, it's almost like vomit, like spit, like this, like, it's real, like, go listen to him say it. It's like, it's not a kind, endearing thing. It's not like they think of us as an endearing term. And then even when you go back to the Gentile whole thing, it's like, okay, so they're not the same as us. They don't see themselves the same as us. They're different bloodline. And then, you know, and then when you go even further, then, you know, like some of us are from their created thing that they were doing. I mean, it's pretty much lots of people now have figured out, like, this just started around 1850 when they burned everything down. And then they started this little habitat thing over here in America to make white people division, artificial, test on it like it's a lab. And it is in other places too, but it's in different factors, different ways. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, when I have been talking about that, so yesterday, lo and behold, here comes a video, some fucking old ass interview of the Berg. He looks like he's fucking 700 at this interview, and I think it was like 15 years ago. And some fucking magical paper, you know, something like the Tom Cruise would go around trying to find in underground tunnels under the Vatican or something. Some kind of wonderful paper that bonds between the ions and the blues. So they've got this pairing that happened. It was all on paper. I mean, and he's involved. You know, he's got to like sign it or something. Like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. When I kept seeing this stuff, I was like, okay, these people, so either they're the, you know, from this bloodline that was, you know, I don't know if they're Anunnaki, reptilian, like, who knows? I don't even know if these people know what they are, but they definitely are cut off from energy. Like, I think they enjoy watching us struggle, but it's kind of like, you know, the vision I get, so is like, think of a dark street, just a dark, lonely road, kind of wet and cold, and and all the homes and all the lights. This is kind of going to make me feel like I'm going to cry. Funny, I don't want to feel sorry for these people. They did it to themselves, you know. But they are kind of used, too, in this galactic war, you know. So, everybody, you know, you can't ever just go in and judge another soul, man. You just can't. It's impossible. It's not for us to do. So in the lit up windows, the light is so beautiful. It's so rich and golden. And the families all are happy and joyful. Even when they're sad and when they have loss, the connection is so pure. And the people in the dark, they don't have that. And they look in the light and they want it so bad. And, man, that's sad. Fuck. That. So I don't know. They just, whenever they get feelings, they get joy, watching us, you know. But then you have a whole sect. There's lots of sects. They split off because you have a whole sect that, you know, is really focused on the part of making money. I mean, it's sick, and it's got a lot of espionage and shit revolved around that. Like super soldiers and shit. Like, it's really bad. That's a really scary part. That's where people, that part is the dangerous part, I think, for humans. Those people. Well, all of them. I mean, because you got these other people who goddamn have to live off of the fucking blood and shit. Like, they don't have feeling. They don't have, but they are just so cut off from it. And I don't know if it's a part of their DNA structure and they've just been here so long. And then as the souls that have come through and reincarnating, they vibrate, like, you're increasing your vibration all the time. Even here, you know, why you feel like it's just low vibration, life sucks, you know, all that shit. That is, when you leave here, you're not in low vibration. You go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, because it's the more you expand, the more you learn. So it's the more freedom the soul has to just go wherever it wants. Yesterday, my daughter sent me a video, a Zoom call, and she had seen, so she's totally spiritually awakening up. And her dog, if you remember when her dog died, it was during she was going through such extreme loss all at the same time. It's so weird because it was such a repeat pattern of what I went through in like 2015. And so she was going through, it was so similar. And she would even say something, and I would say, yeah, I know, I went through that. I know how hard it is. And it was like she would kept forgetting that you know, she was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. You know, I got divorced, my dog died, like all this stuff was happening all at once. And so, you know, and she was going through that. So she saw a dog medium. And so in the Zoom call, I saw like, oh, this girl does the exact same thing as me. Like, she just can turn her head and just look into wherever it is. And so, and she was communicating. She totally knew so many things, like, oh my gosh. And I felt like my daughter was kind of trying to be like, more like, I'm not giving her anything. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to, you know, because, you know, a lot of people who this is like new to, they are, you know, maybe it's fake. Maybe, you know, I don't want to give her something, you know, because then if it's fake and she like a charlatan or something. And I'm sure that those are out there. And there can be some out there who really think that they're doing good, but they're really, you know, listening to other energies or something, you know, like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I can't say that every single person who's out there channeling is legit. Like, you know, I don't know. But this girl totally seemed legit to me. And she was so similar to what I do. And then she, and then she knew things and stuff. She knew so many things. So, and she was talking to the dogs, and the dog that had just passed, and then she got these other dogs right behind, and they came. So she was talking to these dogs, and she was telling, and she knew all these different dynamics and stuff. It was so crazy. And but one thing that she said that Petey was showing her was, you know, like in life, he loved to be able to go out and run as a dog, wanted to go just run free. And he always had to be contained. And plus my daughter, because he was a pit bull, she was always paranoid, and, you know, that people were going to freak out, and, you know, and she would have people freak out. Like, there was a huge, giant scare that went through the whole pit bull thing when we were having all these dog attacks, if everybody remembers. And then pit bulls got on the bad list because people, because they're strong, they've got a really strong jaw. So people who are into dog fights and stuff like that were using them, and it's horrible. Like, that whole fucking, oh my God, it is so, oh, it's not something you want to even look at. It's so, oh, so sick. Yeah, oh my God, it's so sick. I can't even stand it. And so the people, okay, I have a bunch of things coming up my head. Hold on. Okay, so Petey had said, though, that now he kept showing her the freedom and just the zooming and being able to run back and forth and just go, go, go. And the freedom and the energy. And he was telling her, you know, I'm going to stay over here and help her from over here. I'm not coming right back in anytime soon. I'm really enjoying this freedom. And that is what you got to think of as a soul. You know, this is like... This vehicle situation, this whole experience, the whole thing, it's a soul. I think it feels a little like, you know, like for human concept, is like you had clothes on that were way too tight for way too long. And you're just like, you know, and so then it's like, oh, let go. And, but you're way, way more free. And see, and dogs talk, just like dogs are souls. Like, if you think your dog is if you think other souls, other energies are a lower form of you, then you're wrong. And then when you understand about like the energies and conscious energy, and any of the energies that you're around, that you are participating in their conscious evolution as well. The more that you interact with them as souls, as talk to your plants, you know, treat your dog like, I mean, that's an advancing soul to go into these different kinds of incarnations, different kinds of experiences. So it's important, I think, to acknowledge that. And this is the thing that I wanted to say too, was, so where I was seeing, my toes are all cracking, that where the, you know, I'd seen that thing where somebody described like what's 3D or what's 3D, what's 4D, and what's 5D, and what will happen to you, and these different things. And then I had said, you know, 4D I was done with in 2016. I was already left 4D. I was already 5D. I've been in for a few years then, if you go by that thing. And it's all the things that you release and what you focus on and stuff like that. So it's all a part of the, you know, the consciousness healing. And so I'd seen that one, and then I was like, okay, well, I already finished all those steps. But, you know, I mean, it's not like, you know, I swear to God, it is like in the visual, it is more like, you know, Rocky running to the top of the stairs, championing themselves for healing and doing their work and feeling successful for themselves. But really, in this scenario, all of us who ran and got to the top of the stairs, the fucking staircase is about to fill up. So there's a reason for it. There's a reason, as like people, you know, it's part of the role of what's to come. It's part of the necessity. And so anyways, it's not like, you know, you do it and it's like, oh, you get a prize. No, it's just a part of the whole thing. It's just a part of it. And so there is, and that's a lot of different visual things. Like the cheerleaders and the football players, it's all part of the experience of the Friday night football game, you know. So it's not like it's all the things are necessary for the certain thing to occur. And but on this one I had just seen, so this one's going around too, the levels of consciousness. There's 3 levels of consciousness. And the first one is Christ consciousness, and that is all about going within, and it's all the way how you look at things, how you look at life, how you, all that stuff. And then the second one is intellectual, and that is external Loki. That's where you, everything you're trying to figure it out in a logical sense. You're trying to make sense of things logically. And then the third one is where you're not thinking for yourself. You're just reactive. You're just, you know, whatever happens over here, you just react. You're just reacting to things. That's like the, you know, that's the lower chakra. When you're in the lower chakras, when you haven't done your healing, you haven't started working your way up the chakras, then you are on autopilot. So that's where these people, I'll say NPCs and stuff. It's just where people are in their lower chakra. They aren't actively working to, working on themselves. But I guess apparently most of the people are intellectual, because the Christ consciousness one, and I don't know if it's always called that or they're just adding that in now or what, but that's the one I've always lived in. Like, this isn't something where I just did it, you know, like last week, a couple months ago. Like, I went and did mushrooms and then I decided that there was a God. This is Christ consciousness, is how I've lived my whole entire life. And to the point where I've been made fun of, where, I mean, when it's going through the things insane, it's like, that's how I've always lived. And and I've been made fun of by all the people who are logical. That doesn't make sense. Oh, you're going to go with your gut? Okay, real logical, Kelly. You know, all the time, everything I would do, every decision I would make, it was like, you know, I was always following my internal guidance, and people couldn't even understand it. I mean, there's still, like, I can sit there and say, well, what they told me, and they told me this, and, you know, when I was talking to them last night and stuff, and people still, like, I mean, they think, like, I'm not talking to anybody or something. I'm just talking to myself. Like, they don't, it's weird. It's like, because people don't understand something, they think it doesn't exist. It's like, fuck, dude, it exists. You just are cut off from it. It's like, I don't know. I mean, there's lots of these things that just is kind of trippy, you know, when they're sitting there saying, like, there's these different states of consciousness and everybody lives, like, it seems, I guess, everybody lives in the intellectual. I don't know what the numbers, you know, are for the people who live by Christ consciousness ever since they were little. Like, we're trying to figure out, you know, life on a different spectrum, a different level, a different way of understanding life. And I've never, man, when I was listening to that one counselor, and she was talking about, like, she kept calling gifted. I think they keep trying to come up with, like, nicer words or something, because there's so much, you know, they just keep telling us that they were broken or something. But it's all just our states of consciousness. It's just us. They just want us to, like, fit into something and then ridicule us and make fun of us if we don't. And it's like, it's stupid. Hold on. It's already getting cold. Okay. So, on the, oh yeah, because on the gifted thing, I couldn't believe how accurate like, it was tripping me out. You know, just the thing of, like, you think everybody lives like you, and all these different things, like these characteristics. It was like, I didn't even know that we had, you know, that we're matched on some of this shit. They come up with the weirdest shit to match us on. So, like, I don't know how many other people lived from Christ consciousness their whole life. How many other people, you know, had strong guidance that went through different life situations and always went internal and, you know, tried to understand what's going on and stuff. And it always was shown, you know, the other people's pain, you know, the other people, their, I don't know, it just kept me, you know, just like with my dad. Like, there's lots of people who, you know, had a dad like mine, and they never speak to him again. And, you know, and mine was it was a big thing. Like, I did go through years of not speaking to him. I did write him one of those letters that was really popular way back in the day. And, you know, I mean, I stood up for myself and stuff. So, I mean, I cut him out of my life for a long while. He never was around my kids. I think he was only met my kids a couple times. But he stayed the same, you know. I mean, it wasn't like he changed. He stayed the same his whole life. He even if he tried to change, he couldn't. And he was always, like, if you, anybody who lives down in the South, or especially the deep South, and you get, like, these certain people, you know, and they don't have a lot of teeth. They talk with a, you know, thick accent, words all running together, and they just like to sit around and have a beer and laugh, and, you know, that was his people. I was like the people he wanted to hang out with. And, you know, and I would be, there was fucking, you know, I was snooty for, you know, when I was in my certain, rat race part of me that was out there, that Kelly, that, she was snooty. She was fucking snoot, you know, like, honestly. And I was judgmental of my dad's friends and shit. And then when I went to the funeral, because we kind of just made a funeral, kind of. It wasn't like, we made it like a memorial thing and stuff. And just went with his friend. You know, it was important, but it wasn't like your typical kind of thing. It was more like everybody got together and ate and talked about the person and stuff. But when I would listen to the people talk, it was like, oh my gosh, he had so much love in his life. There's so many people around him who just loved him. And, you know, and how judgmental of me, that how I had looked at, like, these people and stuff, you know. So, you know, that's the thing, is, like, we get up our own asses, you know. We think we're so much better. And it's weird, is because I'm always somebody who's trying to bring myself back down. Like, that's what would keep me in so many of these bad relationships. Is the one that was just going on and on and on in my head this morning. And, you know, there's parts of, you know, like, if somebody runs across this, video in here, you know, because I'm never intend to hurt anybody's feelings, but, you know, I got to say my own truth. And, you know, if you had an interaction with me and we had a shared truth, then I get my perspective. And sorry if it doesn't, if it's not in line with yours. And sorry if mine hurts your feelings. But is, you know, like when I said that my last husband was like the bottom, my lowest point of my life. Like the bottom of, you know, just like where somebody has a addiction or a problem or something like that, and then they reach rock bottom. That was my rock bottom, because I was a relationship junkie. I, for some reason, kept thinking that this other person could make me feel better, could make my life better, could make me feel more complete and stuff. And, you know, it was like a dumpster fire after dumpster fire of my life, trying to put out these fucking relationships. And it was like, so my energy trying to get these ones to save me turned into me just constantly having to put all my fucking energy out to putting out fire after fire after fire. And, you know, I was like, after years and years of just like beat down. And, so, you know, I don't even know all the stuff that led up to the brain injury stuff, but, you know, I mean, I was on fucking tons of medications. I worked all the time. My teenage daughters were always mad at me. My older daughters, they had kids and they were mad at me that I wasn't just staying home and being a grandma. And it was like, fucking, I'm 40 years old. God damn. Let's see, I think I was 42 when I started being a nurse. I'm pretty sure. Fuck, well, yeah, must have been. So I went all through my 30s. Fuck, that was rough, man. Fuck. Look, I think people in their 30s, like, goddamn, 30s and 40s is rough, man. When your kids are at home and you're trying to work shit out with this other person, and you have two different fucking ways of looking at everything, and you didn't even know until something came up. It's like, God. So that, to me, is like such a hard time. And then if you're trying to do it alone as a single parent, you're just the same thing. You're just overwhelmed. You're tired. You feel alone. Like, all these things have issues. But, you know, it's a part of our society. We just got all, you know, up our own ass. We just got all fucked up. But so I was in, you know, let me think. So, 2009, you know, I just know I was married to the one person who just was like a fucking tornado in my family. Like, I still hear about it. It was like 1.5 years of our lives. And he was like he's like a fucking energy that comes in like a giant ass storm to just make a fucking mess and then move on through. But he came back around, and I did get, like, that was nice, because that was after my healing. And so I got a really good opportunity with him to set boundaries and stuff. I talked about that before, but it was really good. But anyway, so he had already barreled through my life, and that was a fucking giant ass storm. And then this other guy comes rambling in. And see, it was in that storm, though, is when I got the brain injury. So I was workaholic, relationship junkie. I was at the bottom of the barrel. This guy was out of control. I had kids at home. I was just, you know, a wreck. I was not living, you know, and I'm sure the medication, you know, really fucks with our heads. Because when I look back in that time, I do just look at myself as just being lost, very lost. And then it's like, man, maybe that is just how everybody lives all the time, you know? But, you know, that's when I can look at myself, and I was like off. I was lost. I was caught in a storm. And that's when I got the brain injury. I went in to get the surgery, and the doctors had told me, oh, you got to get this. Now I know, like, fuck, I could have done all that stuff with natural. Oh, so irritating. And, but, you know, everything is supposed to play out the way it plays out. You can't sit there and beat yourself up like, oh, I wish I would have, you know, all that, because it happened exactly the way it's supposed to happen. And it's because, fuck, my life went in a completely different direction. And, so once I got the brain injury and he moved out, then it was like I spent this chaotic summer of breaking up with him, and I was a mess. I was a wreck. My bank accounts were getting all fucked. I couldn't remember numbers. I couldn't remember people. I was messing up at work. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? My kids kept saying I had dementia. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Well, I knew something was wrong. I knew that something was wrong with my brain and stuff, but I wasn't getting help. And then I knew, especially by the time I went to the doctor and she saw all of the pokes in my back, she made such a big deal about it. She's the one who told me, fucking go get a lawyer. My dad told me, all these people. And that's where I think this last husband, I think he thought he was going to get something. He was such a, but see, I allowed him in. I allowed him in my life, so I can't blame it on him. He gave me all the signs of who he was, and I ignored the signs. And that's where you got to go back and look at yourself. And you try and understand yourself. Like, you know, why would I have ignored those signs like that? You know, when I go in, you know, and I look and I see, because, you know, he was the last husband was like the bottom of the bottom. Like, I mean, it really was truly nothing about him that I really liked. I mean, when he sat there in the counseling saying, you know, he's suicidal and stuff, being around me, is like probably for a good reason, because I truly did not like anything about him. I didn't like the smell of him even. That to me was a big thing. He always smelled sour. And I kept thinking, that is a sign, Kelly. Oh, come on. What's wrong with you? And, but, you know, I was still just, I was, like, after the brain injury happened, and you know, and all that, you know, everything was blowing up in my life. And that guy left while I was in the hospital. And only time he even came to the hospital, I was there. Because I was there a long time because of they hurt me while I was there. I was supposed to be in and out. And then I was there for 6 days. And he came in one time just for a couple of minutes to ask me for money. And and I was still in the other room. They hadn't even moved me into the other one yet. So I don't know, must have been a couple days in. But I was so sick on those days. Like, if you came in and saw me, I would look like I was dying. I had family members who kept sitting with me because they thought I was. And, I mean, I should have. You know, if that, I mean, I could have. If that's a way that is an out for people. But you can't die unless you're supposed to. And that has been a common theme through my life, I promise you. And so then, so all my whole life was blowing up during that time. And then it was because that was February, because he left, it was Valentine's Day. And I got out of the hospital, I went home, and oh my God, I was so sick. Trying to walk, I could feel my brain shaking in my, oh, it was so horrible. Oh, that was a horrible time. And it lasted so long. And so super, super sick during that part. And then, because at this point in time, I was going back out, going dancing. And this seemed like it was around September. And so I don't know if it was like, you know, I have no idea. I was very, like, I had a lot of issues that I had to get a handle on after the brain injury. Like, I didn't let, like, if an issue came up, I didn't let the issue take over. Well, I've got a brain injury. Well, that's it. You know, now I just do this because I have a brain injury. No, it's like, oh, fuck, I do this. Like, okay, let's figure this out. And So, you know, you start trying to figure out what the problems are and try and get a handle on yourself. In this period of time, though, it just, when I look at it, it just seems like very out of control. Once it was September, I feel certain it was like September, and I went out dancing with some friends, and it was a weird, yeah, it was weird, because the girl I was with, she started talking about this guy, and, but this is when she, you know, when she got split up, she went, Laterno style. She started hanging out with all these high school kids. Like, she was, like, go to high school parties and stuff. Like, we had a separating of our, you know, directions, you know, but she was with this young girl who was probably there on a fake ID, and she kept hanging out with her. So I just was walking off, and this really cute guy stops me on the dance floor and asks me to dance. Or maybe it was his friend came up to me and asked me if I would go dance with her friend. And, you know, that's all I want to do is dance. That's why I'm here. So I went over there, and he was super cute. And so I was dancing with them and stuff. And, you know, we were having fun dancing. And then he wanted my phone number. And he must have asked me some stuff about me, because it was the nurse thing. I think, and it's weird because you have no idea. You tell somebody you're a nurse, you're not thinking like they're obsessed with nurses. They've always wanted to marry a nurse their whole life because their mom hates nurses. It's like, you're not thinking about that. So I was like, you know, but he attached on real quick. And then my friend, though, she saw who it was, this guy who, you know, he wanted to go out with me or whatever. So it was somebody who would ask her out, who she wouldn't go out with them. And some other time, some other bar, clear across town, like a year and a half ago or something. I don't know. It could have been a couple months ago. But whatever. Once he asked me out, and I left, and this was the weirdest thing. It was just meet this guy in this bar. He asked me out, and he was really sweet and nice, and, you know, and I hadn't gone out. I don't think I had gone. I don't fucking know. It's like a blur. I don't know all of my dysfunction after I got my brain injury. I was definitely a mess. I was very impulsive, and then when I go out drinking, and because I was single too, and go out with all these people, and when people start doing shots and stuff, and I am not a drinker. I would fucking puke. People come pick me up. I'd be puking in their gut like I was a wreck. I was a mess. And then plus I would just wander around. I would wander off. I'd be with people, and I'd wander off and would have no idea. And then I'd have no idea where I was. And like, I was a problem. And, but anyways, I got through it. And when we left there, and she was so pissed about this guy asking me out. And, you know, guys, I had no idea that she was in such competition with me. There's all these things that you just don't realize. And then, so she gets in the car. Maybe he had just asked her out like a couple of months ago or a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was a couple of days ago. I don't fucking remember. But she gets in the car, and I'm in the back seat, and she calls him. So she's got his number. She's been talking to him a while. And she calls him, and she starts talking to him. She won't go out with him. And, but she wants to keep him on the hook, you know. She got to have some fallbacks. And so she calls him and starts giving him a hard time or something. And I'm sitting in the car listening to all this. And so then I get home, and so he starts trying to call me and ask me out and stuff. And I'm like, no, you already asked my friend out. Like, no, thanks. And he kept on and kept on. And he's like, I'm telling you, I asked her out. Yeah, I asked her out, but she wouldn't go out with me. I don't know what her deal is now all of a sudden. And now that he has shown interest in me, and that I showed interest back, now she's like calling him and wanting him to go out with her. And he's like telling her, no, I don't want to go out with you now. I want to go out with your friend. And so it was this whole thing. But, you know, this was a common thing that kept happening. I kept seeing that she Like, because she had this whole other thing. Like, it was, I don't remember this one. Is it was this super young guy. She's really into these young guys. And it was this super young guy. And this is when I was single and stuff. She's like, oh, you ought to go out with him. You ought to go out with him. And I'm like, no. But something happened. I don't know. This guy, she was probably doing the same thing to him. He just would not stop, wouldn't stop. So I left with him. And, you know, it was a dud, a total dud of a night. You know, it wasn't great at all. It was sucky. And then, but I had to get home. And then he go to take me home. And, you know, he comes up and sees my house, and I got a pool and all that stuff. So he's like, hey, let's hang out. And I was like, yeah, come on in. And so we're hanging out by the pool and having fun, you know. And she showed up. She was so fuming. Oh, my God. Because, again, I had no idea she had this competition going with me. It's weird how you have friends and you don't know that that's not really the same. Like, it's on all different levels, these friendships. But, you know, that was stuff that we all get to see. And these things were becoming clear to me. And this was like, ugh. I had relationships all falling apart, all during... I was leaving all different relationships. Nurses, like, I got invited to some parties and stuff, and it's just like, no, I'm just not in alignment with it anymore. I just feel awkward. They talk about weird shit I don't want to talk about. I'm not into it. Just all the things, you know, in friendships, I just started looking at them different. I started seeing things I hadn't seen. So that stuff is already going on for me in that time. And then, let's see, because I would have to make like a whole little fucking sheet to be completely accurate, because I feel like somebody's gonna come in, no, remember blah blah blah. It's like, dude, I've been fucking writing it all down. I'm being as honest, accurate as I can be. I went after the one relationship, the other one started, and he was just out to get what he could get from me. And he was, you know, was just completely whiny, alcoholic, young, no experience, very egomaniac, angry, just like the bottom of the bottom to me. Like, nobody who I would ever want to spend time with, nobody who I'd ever want to, you know, and here I am married to him. And, it was like, God, I didn't look at him like I liked him at all. I didn't like the smell of him. And then here I am staying married to him. And then everything he would do to, like, take my money and use me and stuff like that, I kept being like, I would just blow it off. I would just blow it off and blow it off. It was just like, oh my God, this guy is such a fucking needy. Like, oh my God, I've got to have this, I've got to have that. I'm just whining, always needing this and always needing that. And to me, I don't care about money like other people. Like, other people care about things that I don't care about. And, but there's something else going on there that I do care about. And then, we get to whatever, during that time, like, I had, you know, I hung out with a lot of his friends, and, you know, I'd already blown off a lot of my friends, and that had already switched. And that was, okay, so 09, I got the brain injury. And then I was like, fuck, 09 was hard. All of those years were fucking hard. And then 11, I married him, but we were already together in 09. And then, because 09 started with the brain injury, midway, get this next husband, go through all of this shit, like shedding all these different people and stuff. And at the time, you know, it looked like, well, it was my brain injury. Well, I'm in this new relationship. Well, I got new friends with his friends and stuff like that. But in my insides, I knew what was going on. I was like falling out of alignment. It was like, I mean, I knew what was going on inside of me, what I was reevaluating, what I was looking at. And it was like, none of these relationships are something that I want to maintain, or, you know, I just don't see the purpose of it. It started really standing out to me, people who want to be friends on Facebook and then not hang out in real person. It's like, that's like, no, I'm not, no, thanks. We're not in alignment. Because that's not a thing to me. And so there was like a shedding that was going on. And then the relationship, it was like the universe was showing me how far I had gone, you know, that how low I was willing to sink. You know, I wasn't caring about myself. Even when I see pictures of myself during that time, I just look ragged, man. I look ragged, like I'm trying too hard too. That's why I don't like to look back and see where I have any makeup on. It's not like I have a bunch of makeup on. I don't ever wear that, but I more like eyeliner, probably some eyeshadow, and lipstick. I don't even like to see myself with lipstick. There's lots of stuff I don't like to see. It just looks like a filter face to me. Like, it looks like it doesn't belong on there. And, but when I look back at those pictures, you know, and I look more bloated, I just look unhealthy. I just look like not good to me. And then I was becoming more insecure too. And, so I was doing horrible as far as I'm concerned. It was like the lowest point of my life. I feel like I looked like shit. I wasn't happy. I was with somebody who I was not happy with at all. And then it kept being, you know, like, why am I with this person? And then I would make excuses to myself. Well, you know, the money, well, we got that loan, well, this, well, that, you know, and I was always, you know, coming up with these excuses. See, the things that hold us, the cages that bind us, the contracts, the things that we hold on to. Well, you know, I got to do it because of this. No, you don't. And I thought that you did, you know. And then plus, you know, I'm an older generation where, you know, we went through this whole thing of like, well, why were all these people staying married? And now what happened? How did they all start getting divorced? And so when you're thinking about that, it starts being like, well, do we just give up too easy? And so, you know, you have all that going. Well, I don't want to just give up. You know, I just got to, you know, not be expecting this person to be perfect and be more kind to myself and be more gentle myself, you know. Like, I was always trying to work on myself in these different scenarios, you know, like, you know, I can't change them. I couldn't fix them, but I think I tried a lot. I think that's probably what got him so depressed, is how much I probably tried that got him to where he felt beat down. Like, she doesn't even like me. I don't. Like, that honestly is the truth. I don't like you. And I don't like you at all. At all. And, but I kept staying. And then, finally, when he, and best thing, you know, it's just the way all things work out, the way everything fits together. And you don't see it coming. Like, you don't see what's coming. And, you know, and my love of clothes, you know, got me to where my brother wanted me to do the wardrobe of his movie. And so that's when I went to go to Texas, and I stayed there for a month and a half working on that movie with them. And then and I wanted it to be, you know, like, let's just count this as a separation. Like, because I was so fed up with some of his anger shit. You know, I had reached my point with his shit. And, you know, I'd already been the counselor. I already knew he was suicidal. He was already destroying this other business. It was just like, fuck, man. I can't even fucking handle this. And so then, so I had said, but I think probably I was thinking, well, that'll make him change. So I went, you know, I said, let's just count this as a separation. Well, that sent him into a panic, because most people fear rejection. So you start saying shit like that. Yeah, you're going to get the person who's going to be like, wait. I'm like, no, we can work it out. Because then it strikes a chord in the person who's like, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. I'm rejected again. Nobody loves me. Am I not lovable enough? Like, you start going into, you know, spinning out when you feel rejected. So you say anything. So he's like, no, I want to work it out. And, you know, the whole time I'm there, he's calling me and wanted to talk and shit. And then he'll just talk and talk and talk, and he's fucking drunk as shit. I didn't know he was drinking. Is another thing that I found out later, because supposedly he wasn't drinking. But there was definitely suspicious and signs. It's not quite an hour, but oh my God, so my butt goes to sleep. And then my daughter was going over there to take care of the puppy, because we had gotten this puppy, and he was at work. So she was going over there, and that's how she was seeing that he was drinking. And so she told me. And so then, you know, that's where the universe is like, okay, so what you gonna do? You gonna take a stand? And, you know, that's how I feel about the house thing. Like, the universe is constantly giving you opportunity to take a stand for yourself. And you know, I probably was more of a, well, let's fight about it. You better do this. Well, if you're not gonna, you know, it's stupid. Like, goddamn, toxic relationships are stupid ass shit. Stupid ass fucking waste of time. You can see why they want us to do it, though. Why they want to keep us trapped in all these fucking dysfunctional, toxic relationships, because the energy that's put out. Jesus Christ. How many people spend all weekend fighting? They don't spend any time loving. They spend all the time fucking fighting and arguing over stupid ass shit. And with people who we're not in alignment with. People we're not even vibing with. We're not even on the same frequency, and we're trying to converse. It's like, fuck, I've watched these conversations with people. They're talking in two different fucking things. It's like, you're not even talking about the same thing. So, anyways, so when I came back, though, is when he had already decided. That is what he had been focused on, was breaking up. He had the whole plan set out. That shocked me, especially because he's telling me he wants to make it work. And I'm at this, what is that called? It's the party after, when you're done shooting. There's like a cast party or something. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called cast party, close party, after party, something. And so it was that party thing after, you know, you're talking to all the different people who are involved with the movie or whatever, and their wives and stuff. And I was talking to these girls, and I was talking about, you know, my husband. I was like, it's like a puppy or something. Like, I was thinking, like, God, you just can't shake this guy. I come home, and he's like, you're out. So funny. It was like all these different things, like, where it was like, seeing. It was like my eyes kept opening and opening and opening through this period of time ever since the brain injury. But even before the brain injury, I was already questioning things. I was questioning a lot of things with health and stuff. So my mind was already questioning, and so I was getting the answers. The Western medical was corrupt as fuck and stuff. So, but it took a while, you know. I mean, I still was on the medications for a long time. Let's see. So the shedding continues, because I was shedding my friends. I was shedding, you know, not that lifestyle yet, because the lifestyle, I just switched into this other one with this other person that was so goddamn toxic. His friends were all toxic. It was just like, oh my gosh. So the, when that broke up, and, you know, it just really, I didn't see it coming. And then that was like getting pushed out of my cycle. Like, just, I've been on this cycle, going and going and going, you know, repeating my cycles. And the universe makes sure, you know, they accommodate you. Those people will come in. It wasn't like I was out there looking for them. I just go out dancing. Here they are. Like, you know, the people would come to me. And so that's where I can look back and not be like down on myself or down on, you know, I can see like, oh, I was all about these lessons. It was about what those people taught me, what I learned about myself, how much I grew through what I went through. And so, you know, I can always see the purpose. So when he had left, though, I was not prepared at all. Like, it just, all of a sudden, I had all these money issues again. I just lost my 4th fucking relationship, 4th marriage. Like, it was embarrassed. It was like a joke at that point. And I had made it a joke. I was laughing about it. I was like, you know, I was be talking to some people. I was just one, because they were getting divorced, and they had been getting divorced, I swear to God, like 6 fucking years. I'm standing there talking to this is a bunch of family people too, on the other side, you know, my ex's family. They're all the scientists and shit. And so they're talking about how long this divorce has taken. And so I was like, oh my God, y'all aren't divorced yet? I think I've been married and divorced twice since then. You know, so I could make it you know, I could laugh at myself. But still, in my heart, it was like, what the fuck, Kelly? Come on, girl. And that's why I was like, I'm fucking done with relationships at this. No, I don't want anything to do with it. It's like, I had my run. Wasn't a good one, but it's over. It's done. And now I'm done with it. But so, you know, and everybody's all excited. Oh, yay, yay. She's finally done. She's not going to try it anymore. Everybody's so excited. And now, you know, we're like 7 years in or something. So when I had said that, though, you know, because I was like, I don't want, you know, none of that about the relationships, about getting married, about any of that stuff. It was like, I just saw my life going in a different direction. And being way more just, it was about me. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to just, you know, do me. And, but it was hard when it first happened. That's what put me in the dark night. Is right when it first happened, it was like all my cycles, you know, I was running a program. It's like Stella, you know, waking me up in the middle of a dream. And so I'm running a program, and then all of a sudden he leaves me, and the program stops abruptly, and it's like, you know, what do you do? And so I like fell apart. That is when I went into the dark night. And then, you know, and it wasn't like I was not going far enough, fast enough, that then the dog died too. So it was like, oh my God, what are you guys doing to me? Like, what the fuck? And it was the hardest fucking winter of my life. It was so fucking hard. I couldn't believe it. It was just nonstop suicidal thoughts. And then my daughter, the youngest daughter, the one who doesn't talk to me, she was my go-to. I would call all the time because I knew, you know, if I called her and I said, I'm having really dark thoughts, I can't get this out of my head. Every time I look upstairs, I see myself hanging. And, you know, and she would talk to me because she had struggled so much with depression that she, you know, I think anybody who gets depressed always calls her because she is like a champion for you. She will talk you through it. She will get you through it. She has struggled through it through her whole life. And she is, you know, she's a beautiful spirit. And that gets me emotional too. Because it gets me emotional because she doesn't know how I feel about her. She thinks, you know, that I rejected her or something a long time ago. So she doesn't know how cool of a person I think she is, how special. I mean, she was the most sweetest out of all my 4 girls. She was just the sweetest. She was something. She stood out. You know, she was really incredible. And it just makes me sad. You know, I wish that I could have got her to understand how incredible that she was. But, you know, that's not what life journeys are about. Life journeys are about the hard parts because we need to learn it for ourselves. Because we don't need to see ourselves through other people's eyes. We need to feel it from the inside, not just be like, well, my mom thinks I'm pretty cool. No, we got to feel it from the inside. And sometimes part of the process is having to release the things that I ever said to her that make her feel like she wasn't perfect. You know, but she has to find herself in that forest of pain and suffering and darkness, you know. It's the journey to oneself. And, yeah, that's weird too, because it is kind of like the lights in the different windows of what you focus on as you're going, you know, and you can't get caught up looking in one window too long because it will hold you there. You got to keep going. You got to keep looking through the different windows so that you can release the different situations that hold you and tie you down. So so when he had left, and it was the whole thing, it was just really kind of bitter. It was just kind of ugly. Like, he came over to get the stuff, and we had just gotten these, you know, we had just gotten married, and we had these pictures and stuff, and I didn't want to see him or anything. I put him out with his stuff in the garage for him to pick up his stuff, and he took them all and just smashed them. I was like, God damn. Like, you don't have to. But, you know, I was very much seeing it as he was the quitter in this situation. And I couldn't, you know, but I needed him to quit. I needed him to quit so bad. That's why, to me, he's like, you know, a strong soul connection to me. Like, we have a strong soul connection because he did something for me I couldn't do for myself. So I don't look at it like, you know, he played the role of being my bottom, but that doesn't mean that, I mean, you know, I would think probably, you know, if he's still actively drinking and stuff like he was and not healing, you know, not taking his, well, I don't want to say about taking medicine, but he had epilepsy, but he would always just drink, and it would fuck with his medicine and stuff. But now it's like, I think, like, I just look at so much medical stuff so differently. So anyways, hopefully though, you know, he's raised his own bar, that he's actively worked towards healing himself. Like, you know, I don't know. I know I played a mean guy role in his life too. So in his life, I'm a monster. In my life, he's a monster. But that monster, I know, in soul life is, you know, somebody that I care about and that cares about me, because he did something for me that I couldn't do for myself. And that is powerful. So him leaving me was what, you know, got me going in a whole nother direction. Is once I went through the dark night, and it was that come to Jesus moment. I don't know, because I'd always lived in Christ consciousness. I'd always lived in that certain state of mind. I'd always lived with a certain philosophy. But it was just like something switched, you know. It was like a lot of things were shedding away and switching. And then it got after the dark night. And maybe it was during then that I was watching stuff on YouTube. Because I know that there was this huge time where all of a sudden I started watching stuff on YouTube. Because I had never before, I had never watched YouTube at all. I mean, if I had time to watch something, I was watching Lifetime Movie Channel or TC, or the classic movie channel. So I always watch those movies. I didn't go watch YouTube or something. And so then after all of that stuff went down, and I was looking for something. I think I was looking for something on, I think I asked my kids about something or something. And they said, go look it up on YouTube. And so I went and looked it up on YouTube. And that is when, oh, me and YouTube became close friends. I was like, YouTube? Oh, I'm in love with YouTube now. And so I became, you know, a YouTube junkie. And I started watching a lot of stuff on YouTube. And then when I would talk about stuff, that's when my kids started being like, oh my God, quit watching YouTube. God, what are you, crazy? Don't believe everything on YouTube. I was like, I don't believe everything on YouTube, but I can definitely see what, you know, what I need to believe in, what I don't believe in. But since I believe in so many things that other people don't even know is real and don't believe in, and it's been like this crazy fucking ride through that. And, so when I started watching the YouTube, and that is when I started going and getting the QHHT. And then that led me to this group of people who were all going and doing these big group meditations every week. And they get together and do Reiki and just talk about, like, you know, what was happening in the world. And because we were talking about the ascension and shit back then. We were talking about the aliens coming back then. Everybody thought that the solar flash was going to happen back then. And that was like 2016. That's why it's just, this is so surreal how this is just like, oh, this is a trip. And so then so then that's when my kids all started thinking like I had really lost my mind. Yeah, because I'm talking about aliens, I'm talking about what's the solar flash, I'm talking about all this stuff is happening on the earth. And I was telling them that everybody's going to go through these giant crises. There's going to be all these storms. Like I could see it. Like just meeting these people and having, listening and talking. It was like I was just activating all this stuff where I started seeing all these things. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is, and I knew that it was like everybody had to go through what I had gone through getting the brain injury. Everybody had to go through this like reevaluation of their lives. And I could see all that, like I could know what was coming. And I started trying to tell people and everybody was like, oh my God, you're so crazy. And nobody would listen to me and everybody thought I was crazy. And so then I was just going, going out. I would go out by myself all the time. I would go out dancing. I was totally just doing me. And I was focused on just, spiritual stuff. Like I would talk about tarot. Back then I was talking about tarot. Like I went and got all these tarot cards. I had already done a tarot class a long while ago with a girl, a nurse, that I had gone to a class with her. So I had some stuff. So I started getting back into that. And started, I just was thinking in this other way and getting more into that kind of stuff. I was thinking about all the things that you transition through, like the food. Why am I doing that? Like I started noticing the sky was weird. I started noticing I was walking around in 3D picture. It was like all these weird things that were happening. And then I would try and tell people and everybody thought I was crazy. And then I was fresh off a brain injury, which everybody had already decided I was crazy. So I was very isolated through this whole thing, the whole time. And then 2017, that is when, and it was like the end of the year. Like we're about to have the 6-year anniversary because it was 2017. And then 11/11/2017, I think. And then I got triggered by this person. And that was like sent a whole new thing then. Then I was just like, what is happening? And so now I look at it as like all these other things had to happen. Everything had to happen to lead up to this other part. And then once the triggering thing happened, then that was like going through a whole nother door. That is where, to me, it's like you went on a whole new timeline then. It was like a whole new thing. Now I'm focused on this, and they're telling me all of this, like what I'm supposed to be doing and stuff, and leading me in a direction. And it has so much to do with like trust and listening to them and stuff. And that's why, I talk about it so much. Like everybody's got to get into this. Getting into this communication with your higher self, into this trusting, into this realizing that you're shedding away things that like aren't in alignment with you anymore. Things are happening and being pulled away from you. Storms are happening in your life to restructure it, to make it all fall apart so that you get on a different path. So you redirect, so you start changing how you're going. Because even when I was healed, and I'd already had my dark night, and and at that time, after you get through that, you think like, look, I just accomplished this huge thing. You don't even realize how much more there is to go. Like it's just getting started. And so even when that had happened, because then once the trigger happened, then it started being, it felt kind of like a rebuilding of myself. Like the first part, it felt like I was tearing everything away from myself. And then it was like I had to reevaluate, figure out my direction. But in the direction I was going was still, I was very cut off from love. I was very self-contained. I don't need anybody or anything. I'm good. And so it was very, it's not like if you think about how God wants you to live, or how, you know, God living like for God or whatever, it would be about love, not just like this self-driven, I'm here on my own, get away, get out of my way. Okay, you weirdos, don't spend it, you know what I mean? It was, but I had reached a point where I was okay with it. It was like, you know, I already lived that part of my life. Now I'm okay with this part. But that was when they said, no, that's not what you're doing. Guess what? You're here for something else. It's like, what? I wasn't expecting it. That's for sure. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it. Like, there's so many things that was like, I did not see it coming. And then the whole journey towards it is a whole experience in itself. So, you know, but that is where everybody has got to see, like, you got to find hope. You got to find alignment. You can't sit here and think because what you were trying to do, where you were trying to go and stuff, it wasn't working. And you thought it was supposed to go this way. And, you know, all those things are things you got to let go of. And, you know, and really see in your life, like, you know, you're shedding, you're letting go of things, you're moving forward, you're re-identifying yourself, you're taking all of the parts that you like about yourself and moving those forward and adding onto those and letting go, you know, shedding this old side of yourself. It's kind of like in this scenario, it's like in this old confirmation, this old world of, you know, you've had these same sneakers on for your whole life. They're beat up and torn up and stuff. And now it's time to change shoes. Now you're going to put on a completely different kinds of shoes. You're not even going to get tennis shoes anymore. You know, maybe you're going to get some high-rise boots. Maybe you're going to get some, what are those shoes called that have a big heel thing? Pedestal or something? Some high kind of boots. Maybe you're going to get some moccasins. Maybe you're, you know, you got to tune into yourself and see. Because, you know, if I was sitting there, even in my dark night, there was no way I could have seen what was coming. It was impossible. I would have never even thought to even look in that direction. You know, it wasn't even something that even came in my mind. So, you got to just really open your mind to, you know, you could be completely off on where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing. And you could be thinking you're doing all the things right. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You're working so hard, but you're working in a direction, in an area that you're not even supposed to be in. You're supposed to be in a whole nother one. And so it will maneuver you. That's what this is all happening. Everything's falling apart. It's maneuvering you. It's moving you in a direction so that you can get to a place where you can start, you know, becoming your best version of yourself. Like, we're still in this whole transition. Like, mine hasn't reached the completion yet, because I still have to, you know, this person. It's so funny too, as, you know, to me, I know I'm going to be face to face with this person. Like, I know that's for sure. Even if I was crazy, that the universe, like, I know how the universe works. They would make sure that I was face to face for my own peace of mind. They would make sure that I knew, like, no, but no, they make sure that I know that, no, this is real. This is real. Like, how many times that they have shown me and shown me and shown me. It's crazy. So I got to just trust that, you know, and believe them, and not sit here and worry and think like, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do about this? Just like, they've got a plan. They've got to figure it out. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know where or any of this stuff, but I know they have a plan. And I know that this person is, I think they're already in my orbit. I think that they are just behind a moon or something. But I think they're already in my orbit. I think they've been in my orbit like a year and a half at least. But I don't know. You know, this is the thing that is so cool, that is so curious, is to get to see, like, the things, like, like my signs and what I've been told and stuff to get to find out and see and hear like the truth of it. And that is what to me is going to be fascinating. And that is when, you know, when I start seeing things, you know, when I start understanding like how, when things start playing out, because I have no idea what's to come on those, like on my own personal thing. Like just because you can see the future, you don't know the steps that you take to get there. And it's always like, you know, just even when they were telling me stuff like when I was really young, I was like, what? And you just don't know. You don't know the things that are going to happen. You just don't know. So don't sit there and get caught up and think, well, that doesn't make sense. Don't question it like that. It's not up to you. If you're questioning it, is you don't believe. You're not connected to the possibilities, the higher self, that you're trying to contain and control using the parameters that you were given as to what makes sense. And what makes sense to somebody who's totally beaten down and doesn't feel good about themselves and has lived a life in toxic relationships, probably not super positive. So you want to be thinking about things positive. You want to be looking at things positive. They want to keep you in the dark. They want to keep you out there where they are, out in the goddamn cold, fucking dark, dingy road, looking in at all the lights, you know, thinking everybody else has got it better than you. But they look at it as like, even the person who's got it the worst has it better than these people. Like they hold all the money. I think that even gets to them more. That they can hold all the money and think that they've got so much power over us, but that they can find people that can find joy with no money. That, I think, really irks them. So, you know, that's where you get your revenge. You don't let these people beat you down. You don't play their games. You see the better side. You see the better side of people. And they've got so much, like, fuck. But, you know, all this had to come to the surface about the ions and the, you know, how the blues and all of this all had to come up to the surface. And I think not just for the people, like, I mean, there's people who worship them who they hate. It's like those people need to see. But I think there's people who are in that group, that are in that worship in that group. They need to see. I think they need to see what their group is. You know, some of the stuff when I hear, I think, fuck, is it something like we're all of these blue people, that they all really were looking down on us so much, that they all really do just constantly, if we're talking, they just think that, you know, like we have no value, that they really do only value their own group, and they really do see themselves as being some sort of a chosen, you know, they're different. And the difference to me, like I said, is that they are, they're like hybrids. They have an awareness of being, they have a hierarchy. And, you know, even in the hierarchy of the status of this world, and you've got like the city, the county, the state, and these different families that are controlling us all. I don't think that they all know everything that's going on. I do think a lot of them are all involved in this seedy kid shit. They all, at all different levels. Because that is one thing that I was seeing on TikTok. I think I said it like a year ago. It was all these different girls. Oh my God, so many that were coming out as, you know, blowing on whistles and telling about different counties, different cities, different states and stuff like that. And these people all they came from well-to-do families, and they, not all of them, some of them, they would get taken up by them or something, but a lot of them, a lot of the ones I was seeing were products of these rich families. Like they were kids of them, and would tell about these weird, crazy sex parties and all of the perversion and all of this weird shit. So I don't know if it's just a part of, maybe they fucking hand out certain, maybe they're all mind controlled. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you get all these fucking weirdo people to all come together in weirdo-ness. Like, I don't fucking get it. But they all do, you know, and it's kind of like that same thing, like what I was saying with those, like, starlets in Hollywood, you know, just looking across at the other one, making eye contact, knowing, like, you know, who'd you do to get the part? So, you know, it's just an unspoken thing between all these people that just, like, accept certain things, certain behaviors. And just, I don't, you know, it's just, you know, this stuff has to be purged out. It's fucking sickness, man. It's fucking sick. And, but in this little video, too, where it said that about the Christ consciousness, the logical, and then the other one, whatever it was. And it was only I commented, and I said, I've been 100% Christ consciousness my whole life. Never have thought about stuff logically. And I've always been, I mean, fucking, like I said, from the time I was 3, I was having, you know, conversations, like committee meetings or something about the moral issues that are going on with each decision that I make on the daily. So that has been, you know, it's always been internal. And back then, I used to always think, you know, well, I'm just introverted, I'm shy, you know, but my internal world was huge. My internal world's always been huge. And I just didn't know, like, other people didn't. I always thought it was weird how people were, like, always telling me to be logical. It was like, it was so foreign to me. I couldn't even understand, like, what are you talking about? And I think that is as foreign as I seem to other people. Like, what are you talking about? You know, in my experience, you know, talking to these other people and, you know, being more mindful and thinking about things and stuff like that is just so strange and foreign to other people, because all these people are reactive. The only other person who had commented, they said, well, I'm number 1 and number 2. And so I was thinking, okay, so this must be somebody who is waking up and they're starting to realize that the difference, like, of the Christ consciousness and, you know, the 3D thinking. So they're starting to realize it or something. Because I don't know, maybe everybody's got a little bit of both. I mean, there should be all varying degrees of all things. So it should be, you know, all in the gray. It should be all varying of all things. But, you know, I'm definitely a pole. I'm way extreme on the other side. I'm one of the extremists, I guess, in Christ consciousness, because I've been doing it my whole life. And it's always been the way of thinking on a deeper level. Thinking of things on, like, I just don't understand how people think without thinking on a deeper level. But that's what got people trapped in this pleasing other people and stuff. You know, logic, like, you know, where does it fit in? It's like, you got to have people liking you. So it's toxic. Like, I don't know. I've just been called illogical so much, like, that I have no logic and stuff like that. It's like, well, if I really honestly have no logic, it's, you know, I've gotten through life just fine. And as a matter of fact, through this awakening, I feel like I've gotten through life a lot better than a lot of other people. Because a lot of other people are fucking miserable and just live in their own misery. They're counterproductive to their own happiness. They are toxic. They think on such black and white terms. They, you know, like, there's a lot of toxic things that logic leads you into. So, you know, just on the different states of consciousness, just keep thinking about expanding yours. The internal world is a real world. The external world, they're worrying about, you know, from the logical perspective and who you're pleasing and what makes sense. That's a totally different way of living. And then the other one, that's not even living in at all health. That's totally low chakra. That's just reactive, not, you know, it's kind of like you're creating your own lessons. You're going around and you're just, you know, participating in life in a way that is not proactive. And so but that is your lesson. right there. You know, when you wake up and you start realizing and you start having to take control and you start having to take, what is that? It's like man up on your own choices and see, you know, that your life has to do with your choices. You know, just like to me, you know, the last husband who was such a nightmare. And, but, you know, I mean, the flags were there. I made the choices. I opened the door. It didn't matter how many times he came in and fucking broke all my shit. I still opened the door again. So I had hard lessons to learn, and mine weren't about getting close to Christ. Mine were about getting close to me, learning how to love myself, quit putting everybody else's feelings ahead of mine, quit worrying about what they needed and start worrying about what I needed. Stop thinking that other people can fill my needs and make me happy, and start doing it for myself, and start caring about me, and start doing the things I wanted and the things I needed, and start working on myself. And even through this thing where, you know, you start rebuilding yourself, and you know, I don't know why they showed me the person ahead. You know, I'm sure that there's a purpose, there's a reason why all of this stuff. I just don't know it yet. But even with the person, and you know, and it's kind of like, you know, with that person, when I thought I was going crazy, and my stomach was growling crazy, when I thought I was going crazy and I was looking into it and stuff, and I kept seeing like, oh my God, this person in my life was like so, like there's like, we were going through these like similar experiences all the time at the same times and stuff. There was so many things where it was just like, oh my gosh, I was just like, this is real. This isn't just in my mind. This is real. I couldn't believe it. All the different things that they kept showing me and stuff. And so I knew that that was real. And it wasn't like where I felt like I needed to change myself. But there was definitely changes that had to be done to myself, of a refocusing on myself. And but it wasn't like trying to figure out like, what would this person want? Because it was like, I had no idea. I mean, that's one thing that my guides always, they never show me something ahead like that. Well, when I say that, they showed me this whole person ahead, but they don't show me that kind of thing. Like, well, you know, if you become like this person would like you. That's not what they do. They don't show it like that. It is more of they're directing you. To me, they were directing me like, do this, do that. And I would be like, oh my God, this is so weird. You know, just starting the YouTube channel, I thought, oh my God, it is so strange. I'm going to be such a weirdo. Everybody's going to think I'm so weird. I'm so full of myself. Everybody's going to think I'm like, and overthinking, thinking about like, oh my God, what's this person? And I was being like, okay, I gotta just let it go. I gotta listen to my guides. And they're fucking harassing me. And they're turning the lights on and telling me, get up and go out there and talk about this shit. And so I was like, okay, I gotta do it. I just gotta do it. And if I'm fucking weird, then I'm just fucking weird. Then, you know, then that's the truth. That's my truth. And so, you know, I had to follow my internal. I couldn't sit there and focus on, what does this person want? What is this person looking for? I didn't know. I had to just keep going with what my guides were telling me to do. But now where I'm at this whole thing, now it's like, oh my God, they were directing me the whole fucking time. They were like, I feel like that they're bringing me to this person. Like, they're doing it. Like, I don't know. You know, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. And I will definitely be honest about it. But just, you know, don't think like these people who think like they just woke up and it's all fixed. Like, 09 until now. And I'm still in it. Like, it is a long path. And, you know, not everybody's on the path to enlightenment. Not everybody's on the same path. So, you know, maybe you're just, you know, part of yours is just waking up and realizing you have a soul, but you're going to go do other things. It's not just, you're not going to live your life through your soul, trying to help other people find their soul, you know. But I think that's what mine's all about. Because like I've said, I didn't have a choice. Like 3 years old, I was already in training. I was a little Chinese baby. I was like, oh no, this is what you're doing. I was like, oh, okay. But you know, I'm glad. It's not like I'm mad about it or upset about it. I went through a lot of hard times. I was very isolated a lot. I was made fun of a lot. I was, you know, I've gone through a lot on this journey, that's for sure. But now that I've gotten through it, now it's like, fuck, hell yeah, I did. Hell yeah, I did it. I did it with a smile on my face. So it makes you feel, you know, this is the time when you get to see yourself. But if you are of the mind, you know, where you were vengeful, you were, you know, angry and upset and stuff, it's not just who you are. It's not like who you are at your core. No, that is expressions of yourself that need to be handled, that need to be seen, they're screaming for your awareness. They have something they're trying to show you. So you need to go in and look and see, because it's all things you can heal. It's all things that you can feel better. No matter what your level is, you can feel better about things by working on you and healing things. They just want to keep you in a mindset that you know, you're worthless and stuff. I mean, what they've done to the indigenous people, and I really think it's all because they're scared shitless of them. Because they are kind of, I think that they see it as, they see them like animals. I think that some of these people all have the awareness of the tinkering that has gone on, and I think that they see some of the people like animals, and so they're scared of them. And you know, just like if you were going through, you're driving through one of those African experiences and all the animals, and all of a sudden if you had all of the, you know, certain animal, like all the baboons or something, all of a sudden jumped on your car and started shaking it and hitting it and stuff like that, how terrifying it would be. I think that's how they look at us, you know, but I don't know on what level. Like, I think that they see us as like garbage, like rats, like mice, like, and I don't know what has got them so, where they look so down on us. And, but I think with the natural people, all the people who have melanin, those people, that they, it's like the tribe people. Even if you have some tribes that you think the people look white, you know, you think, well, they look white. I think if you went in, you'd find something different inside them. I think that is their whole thing with this whole DNA and stuff. They were looking for something. They weren't just trying to, you know, match us up and pair us up. And there's a lot of shit going on about that right now too. And a lot of stuff being sold about information. But I think that there was something more they were looking for. I think there's certain bloodlines, there's certain blood types, there's certain, and I would not be surprised at all if they haven't been for years and years coming up with that silver bullet to get certain bloodlines and stuff, and that they are attacking certain ones, you know, because they're like, this war, this battle that we're in is way beyond what we think it is. This is way beyond. Like, this is, you know, like, you're going to think about it. You need to think more on galactic terms. And this place has always been under trying to get different people's control. Right now, there's tons of different beings here. It's not, you know, there's inner beings. There's water beings. There's beings that are, you know, just going around and, what is that called? Like shapeshifters. There's just like, there's so much going on that, and it is a spiritual thing. It's all and anybody who doesn't see it, you're hypnotized. You're meant to not see it, but you got to wake yourself up. You gotta wake yourself up and start seeing it. Start asking questions. Start paying attention. Start being like, why this and why that? Why would they be so against all these tribe people? You know, why would they go after people that don't even have armies? Why would they keep taking these people's land? Why would they keep pushing them back and isolating them, separating them from each other? You know, and why would they steal all of and take their little babies and consume them like they do. Like, it all goes together. And so, anyways, let me think if there was some other things, because there's a lot going, even though, some of the footage, I still have not seen any of the, I think that those compilations and stuff have been CGI. I don't think there's these massive things like what they're showing. I think they're trying to spark that social justice warrior, you know, the SJWs in people, get people to feel like they've got to get involved in stuff, get them more out on the streets, because there definitely is violence. I have definitely seen videos of that. There's violence going on, and that's what I was expecting. I was expecting there to be a lot of violence, and I think there's going to be a lot more. I think this week, again, is going to be something's coming. And who knows, you know, I mean, they've got Putin now having heart attacks. They've got all sorts of shit going down, which, you know, Putin, it's a show. The people who are already on the BRICS, they've already signed on to these peace treaties, and it all has to do with this, you know, when I was talking about these different sects, the mad scientists, the espionage people who've made sure to repress all the technology and hold it for themselves. Well, these people already have access to it. I think that, you know, just like seeing Diana the other day, I was like, oh, hell no, that is not, but that is her. She's gone through the med bed. And so Putin couldn't die. He could go through the med bed. So it's a show as far as I'm concerned, because they all have access to that shit. We just don't, because we're being held hostage. We're, you know, we're stuck in the bank with the fucking crazy guys with the masks and the goddamn guns and shit. Like, we're all stuck in here. And we got all these people on the outside trying to help us get out of it. But, you know, the people on the inside think that we're in the safe place. They think this is where we need to be. But anyways, just when they're trying to get you to really trigger that SJW, that social justice warrior, you got to get out there and stand for everybody else's causes. Just keep remembering, you're going to get overwhelmed. You will drown in everybody else's causes. Everyone is here to work shit out. Everyone's here to bring things to the surface. Everyone's here to complete cycles and stuff. So there's utter chaos going on. There's so much horrible shit. And then the people who are constantly keep trying to pull at your heartstrings. Oh my gosh. I mean, I just saw somebody who was a super spiritual person who I just said the other day, like, I found somebody and finally agreed on this one thing. But then there's always this, they always come in and it's like, then now she's out there, you know, she's really going through it and she needs money, and she's a narcissistic husband and she's been running from his founder, and you know, like, everybody needs somebody to rescue them. It's like, that's not what it's about, people. It's not about, like, go on and find somebody to rescue you. It's all of us managing and handling our own problems, showing ourselves, empowering ourselves, showing ourselves that we can do it, we can handle it. And so many people don't believe in themselves, so they go, you know, well, somebody help me, somebody help me. It's like, you know, me running around marrying people, thinking that that was going to be my solution in life or something. And so people are always going outside of themselves. That's a part of the intellectual thinking. You're always going outside of yourself, trying to solve your solutions. And so, but the spiritual side is Christ consciousness. And then there's a big trust on the universe of understanding. The universe brings me what I need. The universe and when it's something, you know, that I don't think I need or something, it's a lesson. It's something I'm supposed to learn. It's what I'm supposed to. And then every lesson is an opportunity to see yourself, how you handle it, how, you know, what do you do? What do you act like? And so it's all this constant vision of you that you get to see, you know, how you represent yourself. And if you feel good about yourself or you don't feel good about yourself, but it's all these opportunities to see yourself. And so the people who are, you know, just focused on this external Loki of control and trying to get people to rescue them and thinking logical, it's, you got to switch. And there's like huge groups of people. But, you know, that's where, you know, I could see each of these people all have to come together. They have to come together. It's their problem. It's their stuff. we all have them. We all have stuff. Everybody's got stuff that's going on that you're supposed to handle. You're not supposed to. It's weird because you're supposed to notice on an emotional connection. We're supposed to all come together, you know, and understand we're all here battling through this. You know, we're all in the fight. We're all struggling. We're all, you know, and get that really human compassion for one another and understand that aspect. But it isn't for you to run in and try and fix people's problems. For one thing, that is you undermining their own soul's ability. They can fix their own problems, and you're trying to act like that you're the one who's got to handle it. And then you're overstepping the universe and God because you've got to go in and handle this shit. And there's a lot of people who are in that state of mind. So I don't know what all is going to go down. You know, but it's all to keep shattering our states of mind, to keep shattering the way we're looking at things, to keep blowing it up. So you have to keep readjusting and keep seeing things and keep in the flow of movement. And things are coming in harder and heavier. The Schumann resonance is coming in thicker and harder. And if you're not in this movement, then I think it's going to become really unbearable for people. I mean, even people who are in the process of healing are so overwhelmed by the heaviness. To me, I'll be walking around and I'll just feel like this is draining. I feel like I'm trying to walk through quicksand or something. It feels so heavy. And it's weird because then you feel like a ghost. I even have had times where I feel like I'm moving weird. And I think that's got to be like that whole thing about the frequency. Like everything is just jacking up right now. So sometimes you feel like you can't get through it. And sometimes you feel like you're floating above it. Sometimes you feel like you're trying to walk through it. It's just these energetic fluctuations that are going on. But those things are to, you know, the more light that you bring into yourself. And that is, the light brings the view of the dark, so you can release the dark. But that makes you lighter. It makes you feel lighter. So that is the process to keep focusing on through all this stuff. Keep focusing on what you need to heal, what you need to focus on in your own orbit, the things. And maybe, you know, you really have to focus on setting boundaries for yourself. And all these opportunities keep coming up. And you just feel overwhelmed, like, oh my God, everybody's pushing on me and pushing on me and pushing on me. No, the universe is trying to get you to stand up for yourself and set boundaries. Good, healthy boundaries, not angry, ego, or any of that stuff. Just good, healthy boundaries. And notice what are the things that trigger you. What are the things that you feel pushed in on by people? You know, start understanding. And then don't give away too much. Like, don't go all in. Like, well, somebody didn't call me a girl and I'm a girl and, you know, whatever, all that kind of misgendering. Don't get yourself all caught up in that. Like, you know, these are your lines that you're drawing. And remember, whatever you're caging others in, are you going to cage yourself in? Like, you're just comfortable caging everybody else in. You can't talk like that. You can't do that. Well, nobody can cuss around me. I don't listen to cuss words. But then walk away, you know? So you have to also see, you know, if you're caging yourself in with rules, and then you're putting all these rules on everybody else, because we're moving out of that arena. We're moving out into that time and place where the rules are inside of you. You've got your own rules, and you don't need to put your rules on me, and I don't need to put my rules on you. But we all need to live by, you know, these rules and trust that we all have this soul playbook. But we're going in. You got to keep remembering, because so many people, well, it can never be like that. There's so many mean people. There's so many assholes. There's so many this. Yeah, but that's why we're shedding it. That's why we're going through this. That's why everybody gets an opportunity to reveal to themselves, you know, can you do it? Can you let go of things? Can you move forward? Can you grow up? Can you become emotionally mature? Can you handle yourself? Like, those are all the questions you need to be asking yourself, you know. And maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you just want to give up. Maybe it's just too hard. Well, the universe is going to accommodate that too. There's going to be a big, like, disappearing act. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to go. But there's other people, like, there's more and more of these disappearing videos come up. Don't believe those. There's way too weird. And there's other people, too, pointing out there's way too much weirdness. It's way too set up. It seems like somebody's made a movie or something. So, and maybe, you know, this is their big promotion of their movie and they think it's funny to promote it like this, to get people thinking that this is really happening. Just don't believe everything that you see. It's like when they're doing these giant compilations and every single person out there is flying a Paki flag. Like, what? I don't even know where you would go to get them. And then even if they were ordering them all on Amazon, and then even if like how many of these people live here? I thought they were all trapped on the strip. They can't get the fuck out of here. And now we got billions of them everywhere. Like there's so much stuff. You know, but you got to keep remembering this is, there's a lot of shit that's going to go down in the Middle East over the religious wars. Like, I mean, these people keep away from God over fighting about what he said last night, you know. It's like they've all got to, you know, and if they can't get over their shit, it's like, bye. They won't be going forward. So just keep that in mind. If you can't elevate yourself, you won't be going forward. The people who can't, won't. So you don't have to stress out about it. You just got to work on yourself. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. It's not that big a deal. There's plenty of places to go in the universe to keep experiencing. You don't have to go through all of this challenge that is going to lead us into this, you know, beautiful place that we're headed to. It is a lot of challenges. It's a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of hard shit. But fuck, as a soul, to me, you want to let go of this shit. So this is, you know, this is the letting go. This is the shedding. This is the, you know, taking off those old shoes and going and putting on some new ones. So let go. You know, let go and let God. Let go and let God. I'm telling you. And just keep shedding the old self, you know, and keep going inside. Don't go outside and think like, well, what did they say? How do I do this? What do I do? Go inside. You have all the knowledge. You have all, it's all inside of you. And Stella is now fed up with this whole thing. She's like, okay, we're done with this, Mom. So anyways, take care of yourself and just, you know, stay on your toes because this shit is going to keep going. Like we still have something big coming of them coming back on us over the, trying to hold us into hostage, you know, and then there's going to be something. Like we've got some big things coming and it for sure can be this week. And, you know, but we're right on that, you know, debt-free society. Just keep that in mind. Like, oh my God, something that has burdened all of us, our whole fucking lives. The burden of debt. And now is going to be, it's going to fly away just like it was never there. And we're going to be like, oh, and it's going to feel good. But you have to be healing yourself. You have to be in a mindset of receiving, you know, this is, you'll see. There's going to be people who are going to, and they're going to have a hard time with it. You know, this is all about the healing. This isn't just about, you know, pad my pocketbook, you know, life will be okay. This is about healing, making choices for yourself to make your life okay for you. So anyways, I will talk to you later. And we'll see how the day goes. Like what the fuck is 402. That's 2202. So anyways, we'll see how it goes. I mean, you know, it's horrible to sit there and just wish that shit would hurry up and go down, but fuck, you know, it's hard not to. So just, you know, you do you, and it's all about coming into union with you. You know, if you are doing that and you think like, God, I'm a total dick, like bad things are going to happen to people, you just come into, you know, like, well, you know, bad things are happening nonstop to people. Like, we want it to stop, so we need it to hurry up and fucking blow up. So don't feel bad if you're just to the point of just like, God, come on, because that's definitely where I'm at. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.